A hostage situation played out on social media last month at a downtown LA high-rise, and tonight, the LAPD releasing chilling new video.
Riots, protests, and looting have broken out in Minnesota as Black Lives Matter supporters congregate together in support of Dante Wright, who was killed by a police officer on Sunday. On Tuesday, police had made more than 60 arrests as protesters took to the street to beg for justice.
Showed the man holding a woman hostage in her own apartment. It shows SWAT moving in from that point. It appears he holds that gun to the woman's head. He's now a hostage taker, forcing LAPD to act fast. The SWAT and the deadly takedown. The suspect has since been ID'd. The story behind the embassy of LA. It has been now evidence of this killing video on that cell phone that shows the flashbangs and SWAT moving through the darkness. Shows the gunman walking through the hallway and check his hand. He still has his gun.
Now live.
He gets into a woman's apartment.
Hostage not hurt, and how incredible is that with all of that gunfire, all the threatening action going on?
If you're watching this video right now, then you should know that this is the third time I've tried to publish this video, and the reason I haven't been able to publish this video is because YouTube has decided that I am not allowed to show body cam footage. Now, according to their rules, I actually am allowed to show body cam footage as long as it's not overly graphic, as long as it's within the context of an educational video, which, by the way, this video is in fact educational. I am comparing and contrasting the footage to matters of law to what actually happened in a previous video, so it should be no problem.
This has never been a problem with us before, and it probably will not be a problem with us now. As he's about to explain, due to the YouTube manual reviews, he had to put text over his body cam footage to clarify. However, our team has the raw body cam footage, and so instead of showing his censored version, we will show the original raw body cam footage in place of his edited version to make our point and do our breakdown.
No problem. However, YouTube is under the impression, and they've had two separate human reviewers decide that this footage where nobody gets wounded, there is no blood, no one dies. The whole point of the footage is to show you how these people escaped from this situation unharmed, is violent graphic footage that may be just me trying to revel in the suffering of others.
You will see later in the video that no one actually gets shot in any of the body cam footage. As of right now, all the released body cam footage that we have does not include any angle of the suspect actually being shot and only includes the angle of an officer who shot him.
So because of this nonsense, I will be labeling the body cam footage just so that the YouTube human reviewer can know that they're not watching somebody get killed or injured or anything like that, which is obvious from the context of the story. It's obvious because I'm talking about somebody who was victimized that talks about her victimization days later and she's perfectly fine, but whatever, this is what I gotta do in order to deal with YouTube. So recently on this channel, we featured a story involving a woman called Arabella Foss Yarborough and her confrontation with Black Lives Matter activists that were supporting a man called Teckle Sundberg, who was shot and killed by the Minneapolis police after Sundberg had the police called on him by Yarborough because he was firing shots into her apartment where she was cooking food with her children. And at the time I did my original video, the body cam footage, which was being demanded to be released, was not out yet, and I said that I would go over it if the updates were actually interesting, and they definitely are. So we're going to talk about the body cam footage, give you some refreshers on how she was treated by the crowd, and you guys will see for yourself that Black Lives Matter will defend absolutely anybody and make up stuff in order to do so.
We see this time and time again nowadays, where BLM actually does the opposite and calls for the complete ban of body cameras. We saw this in 2020, and we saw this in 2021 on the list of demands, due to the fact that it just kept debunking their own narratives. These people who are hardcore in the organization will legitimately make up anything that they can to defend almost anyone. He is correct on that. We actually have someone in our staff who would say they support BLM but not the organization, and so to that point, sure, not everybody in BLM may make up everything in order to make a point. However, the organization itself will definitely do so.
Probably have a mental illness now because because they almost lost their life. There's bullet holes in my kitchen because he sat in the fucking hallway.
No, your ears do not deceive you. That man legitimately just said, "not in you," though, as if that's supposed to act as some sort of consolation for the fact that a man almost killed her and her kids and 2 officers.
Watching my move. I wish it never happened either. I don't have a place to call home. I can't sleep that night.
She's obviously going through a moment.
This is not okay.
This is what they want to show on the TV. It's obvious.
Yes, Sherlock, I'm sure she's definitely going through a moment. Who would have thought the mother who almost lost her 2 kids in her life would be going through a moment? And then to turn around and make the comment that this is obviously what they want for TV. It's so hypocritical and so unself-aware. And this is one of the biggest issues with America today. Americans are too reactionary. They don't even wait to figure out all the information. Riots and things happen in this country all the time simply because people aren't ready and willing to wait for the facts to come out. People don't want to hear the other opinion. They get the information they want, and that immediately sparks them to do whatever they want, and then they hide on a moral high ground, thinking that that protects them.
All manner of nastiness and disgusting behavior from the Black Lives Matter side, based on the fact that they bought into a false narrative related to this story. And of course, we have devastating quotes from her. I'm gonna play them again for you.
No, you wouldn't, not like this. No, the fuck you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't even know the story. You wouldn't even know the story.
It's just powerful stuff all the way around, and we almost never hear from the victims of the criminals that end up being killed by the police, that end up being put up as these heroes by Black Lives Matter, the people that we see their baby pictures of, so that we're meant to be tricked into thinking that this person in this photo that was taken years ago is a little baby, so somehow the man that we're talking about now that's victimizing other people can't be responsible, or whatever nonsense people are trying to put forward that indication, and she is having none of it. And again, that thing that she said about now my kids have to watch you try to celebrate the man who tried to kill him.
All I know is for 3 years I lived here, and none of you guys knocked that at me and tried to see if he was okay. Not at all. He played loud music every day to cope with his mindset. There was casings in the hallway. The shot went through my door to the pillar to the kitchen. I was cooking food for my kids. He shouldn't know. It doesn't matter. He shouldn't have been dead. Y'all should have came and helped him when he was alive. Now I can't get my shit because all you guys want to be here. My kids have to see you guys celebrate a man's life that tried to kill him.
Mic drop moment, camera pans away, all amazing stuff. Now, with that being said, we have to understand that there is another side to this. There is a grieving family. There are people who mourn the loss of the person. There may or may not be mental issues at play for this situation, although Arabella has a great response to that, which is these people should have helped this person when he was alive.
Every single time one of these situations pops up, we always hear how good of a kid they were and how they would have never hurt anyone and how much their friends love them. Like, any of that is actually relevant to the fact that they actually went out and did something. It doesn't matter if people perceive them a different way before they did the thing, they still went out and did the thing.
But for the most part, I'm not one of those people who wants to attack members of the family who are grieving. However, I do need to point out that they are fueling a lot of the hatred and vitriol toward this woman in this moment with the many press interviews that they did. For example, this one that I recently caught wind of, where she says the reason that Teckle was killed was due to the fact that he was black, and if he were white, he would have been taken easily, no problem, no questions asked. It's insane. It's obviously indicative of racism. She's basically making the case that you see in those embarrassingly simplistic Facebook memes.
Mark and Cindy adopted Teckle from Ethiopia when he was 4. He was raised alongside 8 siblings. The Sundbergs say they believe if it were one of their biological children having a mental health crisis, the outcome would be different.
We already having a video on this channel going over the fact that police don't just shoot people because they're black. I will leave a link in the description as well as 2 links to Donut Operator's complete debunking of the. However, you can obviously see that they truly honestly either believe this or they could be fishing for money, but I feel they truly honestly believe this. And why do they believe this? Because the media reports it that way and makes it seem so.
Everyone knows, had it been a white person in that building, they would have talked them out. They would have waited. People who go in and shoot massive amounts of people are arrested safely.
Once again, we will be leaving a link in the description to a video debunking this, but to her point, unlike those people, your son in the end did not comply. Those people, despite what they did, despite no matter who all thinks they should have been shot, including myself, at the end of the day, unlike your kid, they complied. In 6 hours, 6 full hours is plenty of time for this guy to have decided that he didn't want to go out this way. He made his choice and he suffered the consequences.
In reality, the police in this situation negotiated with Teckle for hours. You can hear them on the megaphone. There's actually a 2-hour live stream, 2 hours plus live stream that was posted on the Citizen app where you can see the negotiation go on. You can actually see that the thing that ended up setting off the shooting was the fact that Teckle started breaking out the windows and was moving towards them with a gun, thus making the sniper have to take the shot in that moment because he was presenting himself as a threat to other people. But the whole entire time they were trying to talk this person down. But this idea that he was just so innocent or nothing was done wrong in the situation except for the fact that he was black is absurd. We have the body cam footage of what it was like to be in this situation, and I want to play some of that for you so you can understand where Arabella was coming from and how hectic the situation was and how the police definitely showed restraint based on the behavior that we were seeing from this individual.
Due to his heavily edited footage, we will be taking over from here.
If you want to have the caller come to the north side stairwell and open the door.
Happy, however, right now he's having somebody banging at his door like they're trying to get in. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get out.
Yeah, that's me.
The suspect then tries to kill the police officer by firing multiple rounds through the door. Thinking he then hit the police officer, he fired more execution shots, hoping to kill the officer.
Police! Police! Police department! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired inside the north stairwell. I'm not hit, but they're shooting through the door.
After a bit of scuffling, an officer joins the fight.
Bullets! 303, keep the airplane. We right here? Yeah, right there. Okay. Police! You're over. Keep the airplane, please. Police! Come on, stay back! Stay back! Close the door! Alright, 303, spot on the squad. Hey! Go to the south side! Go to the south side. Hey, you guys stay here. Send everybody else. Hey! Hands! Hands! Come here! Hands! I got it here. Come here!
My kids are in there! My kids are in there!
Where?
He's shooting.
Shots fired. Active shooter on the north side. Where are you? What room? Do you see? I saw the smoke in the back.
The officers then proceed to save the mom and her children from this crazy lunatic.
It's right there. It's the bullet came forward. 304. Sorry. 303. Get me a rifle or two up here. On that door. 318. 318. Barricade or something. Turn them down, guys. It's that way. It's crazy.
The next long batch of footage consists with the officers negotiating with the suspect. I won't leave that entire thing in, but if you want, I will leave a link to the raw video in the description.
The officers and he's breaking up some other windows.
He just went tucked in. Can't see it. He's got a cell phone. What's that? Camera? You want it on? Yeah. It's on.
He's waving something around in there. Gun.
Gun.
Both snipers confirm the suspect has a gun, and then both each take one shot, which eventually led to the suspect's death.
You can hear the panic in her voice at the idea that her checking to see the coast is clear might have actually left her kids alone in the apartment in that situation, and she's communicating that to the police officers. Now, I know a lot of you out there in my audience are already parents, or people who are looking to become parents, or just generally don't need to have a lived experience personal connection in order to sympathize or empathize with somebody. But just imagine you are in this situation. Imagine the terror coming from your voice as you don't know whether or not your little kids might accidentally walk out into the gunfire as this man is firing shots into your door, when all you tried to do was check if the coast is clear, and then the police yanked you basically behind the line. You're asking these cops, you're basically begging them in order to get your kids to safety, but in reality, it might not be strategically advantageous for them to get out into the hallway, since this guy is firing off rounds and is clearly currently still presenting himself as a danger to the officers and to the kids. Oh, well, guess what? This wouldn't have happened if he was white. This was totally a black and white thing, must be evil white racism, said in that same interview that he wasn't even given an opportunity to talk to his son. But in reality, the live video tells the opposite.
I asked every police officer that approached me if I could go talk to him. No, absolutely not.
Not only do we have a clip of him on the megaphone talking to his son, the megaphone that the police were using earlier, but there's actually earlier clips in this very same stream of them saying, answer the call from your dad, answer the video message from your dad, listen to the video message. They were trying their very best to get him in communication with Teckle because they wanted to resolve this situation peacefully. It only became a deadly encounter once this guy started smashing out the windows and was ready to point the guns at people and start firing on the people below.
It's your dad again. I need you to talk to the negotiators. They just want to talk to you right now, okay? Give them 30 seconds. That's all. Just to know what's going on. Not ask you to come on, just talk to the negotiators. They're going to call.
Look, I understand grief, I understand anger in these situations. I understand that even if somebody you love did something bad, chances are you still love them, you still care about them, and you want to support them, and obviously it's going to break your heart when they're killed in this way. But what I can't understand and what can't be justified is lying.
A hostage situation played out on social media last month at a downtown LA high-rise, and tonight, the LAPD releasing chilling
protests and looting have broken out in Minnesota as Black Lives Matter supporters congregate together in support of Dante Wright, who was killed by a police officer on Sunday. On Tuesday, police had made more than 60 arrests as protesters took to the street to beg for justice.
Showed the man holding a woman hostage in her own apartment. It shows SWAT moving in from that point. It appears he holds that gun to the woman's head. He's now a hostage taker, forcing LAPD to act fast. The SWAT and the deadly takedown. The suspect has since been ID'd. The 45-year-old from LA is handling now evidence of this killing video from that cell phone that shows the flashbangs and SWAT moving through the darkness. Police chase the gunman into this apartment building at 6th and Main. More security video now shows the gunman walking through the hallway and check his hand.
That is
he still
intense.
has his gun.
Now live
he
there,
gets
the
into
woman,
a woman's
the female
apartment.
hostage not hurt, and how incredible is that with all of that gunfire, all the threatening action going on.